I saw my dead husband's eyes on two babies at a red light in Lagos, and that's the moment my life broke open. Would you trust your gut if it pointed you toward a stranger holding two crying children on a blistering afternoon? Or would you look away and let the light turn green? I'm Naomi the widow, with the big white house and the reputation people whisper about, like it's a designer label. The one they call cold, because I stand tall and don't apologize for surviving. I was heading home from the hospital after holding my best friend's newborn. Tiny fingers, warm breath, a future that didn't belong to me, and I told my driver to skip the shortcut. I needed slow traffic, noisy streets, anything to drown out the quiet that waits for me at the mansion. Then the SUV rolled to a stop on Ozumba, and I saw her. A barefoot young woman pressed against a rusted pole, clothes torn at the seams, a piece of newspaper tilted over two infants, like it could turn the sun off. My driver muttered, "Begging scam rented babies, this city has tricks. But there are some things you can't fake, and eyes are one of them. Hazel light brown, fading to gold in the heat, the exact eyes I kissed good morning for 10 years. I don't remember opening the door, just the feel of dust in my heels and my own voice coming out calm and sharp. "Who are you?" "Anita," she said, clutching both boys as if air itself might steal them. "What are their names?" "James and Joseph." She didn't ask for money, didn't extend a hand, didn't even move. She just sat there with dignity that looked like a bruise. "If it were you, what would you have done?" "Get in the car," I told her, and I watched the driver's face go from confusion to panic, to a kind of prayer that rich people's mistakes don't end up on the evening news. Inside the SUV, the air conditioner hummed, and the twins' cries fell into those hiccup breaths that undo you if you've ever loved a child. I held them one at a time, felt the weight, too light, smelled the sweat of heat and fear, saw those eyes again. Maybe grief was playing tricks on me. Maybe I was just a woman who wanted a miracle so badly she saw it everywhere. You know what I mean. We drove past bougainvillea and security gates into the polished world I've built to keep chaos out, and I didn't let anyone touch them when we got inside. Not the staff who rushed in with clean hands and careful smiles, not even the doctor when he walked in with his white coat and that steady baritone people trust. He checked tiny pulses, listened to shallow breathing, shook his head in that way physicians do when there's nothing mysterious to announce. They were hungry, dehydrated, sunbaked, stable if we acted quickly, fragile if we didn't. Anita stood in the corner like a child who wandered into a museum and forgot how to move. Behind a church, she said, that's where they sleep. Pap when she could bread soaked in water milk on lucky days. 9 months old. That first night the house was so quiet, I could hear my rings click against the glass. I wasn't drinking. The pool glowed blue outside the window, the kind of expensive calm that never really calms you, and I kept seeing those eyes in the reflection. I went into my husband's study for the first time since the funeral, the one room that still smelled like his cologne and old paper, and opened drawers I had closed in anger months ago. I found a small wooden box, and inside it letters. Not my handwriting, not my words. "Sweet weekend, I miss you already. The pregnancy is showing I can't keep lying forever." My mouth went dry. I didn't cry. Sometimes your body knows to save its water for later. I called Dr. Andrew. "Tomorrow," I said, "we do a DNA test. Compare the twins to the autopsy sample." There was a pause, not shocked, not judging, just a pause where trust sits. "We can do that," he said, and the practical part of me, the boardroom part, made a list that read like armor. Feed, bathe, clean clothes, guest room, cribs from storage. Call the housekeeper, not the press. Mercy doesn't need a camera. In the morning, Anita ate slowly, like someone remembering table manners her mother taught her before life got hard. She broke bread into small pieces, sipped water, rocked a boy with his thumb in his mouth. I asked questions gently, and each answer felt like a stone laid on my chest. She met him when she was in school. He was kind, then he was gone. She didn't know he was married. He came once after she told him about the pregnancy, then never again. "What's his name?" I asked. And when she said Femi, I heard glass somewhere in me crack without making a sound. 2 days later, a brown envelope with my name laid itself on my desk, like it wanted to be opened and burned at the same time. Probability of paternity, %. People talk about their heart dropping, but mine did something else. It stood up, walked to the window, and refused to fall. I sat in that chair, eyes unfocused, and felt 10 years of conversations replay. Fertility clinics, doctors saying both of you are healthy. Maybe time will gift you my husband's mouth saying love is enough. Love, it turns out, is not a condom. Here's where you get to judge me in the comments. I told her to stay. Not because I suddenly wanted to build a fairy tale where the mistress and the wife hold hands and sing. I told her to stay because those boys deserved certainty. A roof, a name, a future that couldn't be auctioned off by relatives with sharpened smiles. Legal guardianship, I said, so the twins are protected. We can enroll you back in school, get you a degree, a job that pays more than gratitude. We don't have to be friends. We just have to be fair. Do you think that's fair? Family has a scent when it wants something. 2 days later, my late husband's brother, Chief Whale, walked into my living room with 2 cousins in dark glasses like they were allergic to the sun. He circled the sofa like a lion with manners. "You brought strangers into the house," he said, voice full of tradition and control. I slid the DNA report across the table. He read it. The paper didn't shake, his face didn't move. "That doesn't make them yours," he said finally. I stood, slow in heels because theater matters, and told him what I knew he needed to hear. "It makes them his, and I'm done playing the quiet wife while men with matching last names rearrange my life like furniture." They tried the usual weapons. The board is nervous, the shareholders are asking questions. The press is outside your gate, investors prefer women who don't make noise. Pressure can be polite, but it's still pressure. I kept working, answering calls, feeding babies in a kitchen that smelled like lemon and boiled milk. Then the headaches began. Then dizziness. Then that slow fog that makes you a passenger in your own body. I blamed stress, grief, God, pick a reason. One night I walked past the twins' door and heard Anita laughing, a light trill I had started to like because it made the house sound alive again. I stopped, put my ear to the door. A man's voice, soft, confident, familiar, slid into the room like smoke. Akin, my husband's cousin. My husband's. "She'll be gone soon," Anita whispered, almost playful. "The pills are working. She won't make it to court. When she dies, everything will be ours." My body went cold, not angry, not dramatic, just cold like a power outage inside skin. Akin promised her marriage, promised her a seat at the family table, promised her the empire if I just stopped breathing. Pattern interrupt. I almost pushed the door in. I almost exploded. Instead, I ran. Downstairs, out the back, across the tile that suddenly felt like ice. At the hospital, Dr. Andrew didn't ask for a speech. He started working the moment he saw my face, hands steady, voice even. He said the word poison, and my driver said the word who, and I said nothing, because the thing about betrayal is if you name it too early, you give it oxygen. The IV dripped, my heart slowed, then steadied. When the room quieted, I said it out loud. Help me fake my death. He looked at me for a long 3 seconds, doctor friend man with a conscience, and then he nodded. If we do this, we do it clean. Stick around because what happened next will blow your mind. He explained the plan like a ritual, a medicine to slow my heartbeat, cool my skin, make me look like marble. Ice packs at pulse points. Timing precise enough to fool everyone we needed to fool and no one else. Matthew would tell the staff. The press would feast. Under the white sheet, I listened to Anita's performance outside my door. Wails high enough to hit the ceiling, words about enemies and fate that would be hilarious if they weren't acid. Then she stepped away from the crowd and made a call. It is done, she said, and Akin's voice came through the phone like oil on water. Congratulations, darling. Everything is ours. Yeah, that happened. The hospital's CCTV got it. A recorder tucked where flowers go got it too. No more guessing. No more mercy without eyes. We waited 1 week long enough for the greedy to relax. Anita and Akin moved into my house like they were checking into a hotel. They replaced my portraits with selfies that tried too hard. They walked my halls, mocked my taste, planned their future across my dining table with pens I paid for. It was almost funny. Almost. Court day was hot and loud. Anita arrived in a red dress that said new money and nothing else. Akin puffed beside her like a man practicing for a mirror he thinks he deserves. My lawyer stood calm as prayer. My lord, before we proceed, the defense would like to call a witness. The doors opened. I walked in. Silence can roar. Heads snapped, chairs scraped. Somebody whispered, "Ghost." I stood there and let them look at me until the shame soaked in. It's me, I said, and it turns out I'm very hard to kill. Then we pressed play. The courtroom TVs flickered to life and showed Anita leaning over my sheet-covered body, whispering about finally having everything. You could hear Akin laughing on the phone, promising her the family name like it was an item you could buy at a counter. We handed over toxicology reports, showed dosage timelines, let Dr. Andrew explain the medicine and the ice and the border between safe and dead. We walked for the truth. The judge's gavel hit wood again and again, like thunder clarifying a sky full of rumors. Akin tried to act like words could make facts let go, but Anita broke first. Tears and snot and the ugly collapse of a lie walking into a wall. Yes, my lord, we planned it, she sobbed, and that was it. The room exhaled hard. Reporters scribbled, people muttered, and I had to sit before my knees remembered they were human. The verdict came fast, and it had no music in it. Life imprisonment, no parole. The twins would remain under my guardianship, recognized as my late husband's sons, their future ringed by paper and law instead of gossip and threat. Do you think justice was served, or do you think it went too far? When I got home, I went straight to the twins' room. Joseph woke first, hair a soft curl against his forehead, eyes open to my face like I hung the moon. He lifted his arms. I froze. I whispered to the empty air. I can't do this. I can't raise the living evidence of a betrayal that almost killed me. I can't be this strong every day. Then something in me shifted, small but real, like a lock clicking open. You're not him, I told the baby, and you're not your mother. You're you. I picked him up, and everything in that house softened by 1 degree. Life afterward isn't a montage. It's early mornings with cereal on the floor. It's board meetings where you do not apologize for not dying. It's lawyers who stop calling you madam and start calling you leader. It's a tutor who shows up with science experiments and leaves glitter in the grout. It's a driver who picks the Friday playlist because joy belongs to him too. I sold the cars I never liked. I funded a scholarship for girls who are one kind man away from losing their future. I rewrote my will in language even a cousin with a plan can't pretend to misunderstand. Mercy is still in there, but now it wears a seatbelt. 3 years later, I stopped at that same red light, with 2 second graders in the back seat, arguing about who gets the last plantain chips. The sun hit the pole the same way the sidewalk held its heat. The city moved around us like 1,000 different stories all at once. "Mom, are we stopped?" James asked, and I said, "Because this is where God got bold with me." They laughed, rolled their eyes, asked for snacks again, and I drove on. Now it's your turn to wrestle with this. If you were me, would you have taken those babies home or called social services and let the system do what it does? Would you trust a DNA result and your gut? Or would you keep your heart on ice and your doors locked? Do you think blood should decide inheritance more than character? Or should the law catch up to the truth that families are built, not just born? And when a woman saves someone who tries to kill her, is mercy strength, or is it a habit that hurts? If this story hit a nerve, if it made you angry, hopeful, or both at once, say it out loud in the comments. Tell me what justice looks like where you live. Tell me if you would have faked your own death to catch them, or walked away to start fresh in a city where nobody knows your name. Drop your city, drop your take, challenge me if you think I got it wrong. And share this with someone standing at their own red light, trying to decide whether to open the door or stare straight ahead. Like the video, if you felt it, subscribe for more true life stories told without the sugar, and hit that bell so you don't miss the next twist. I'll be here telling the truth the way I lived it. Now answer me this. Was I right to raise those boys, or did I just get very, very lucky?